Welcome. Mr. Brijesh is founder partner of what is the company name? Oxano, please. Welcome.
Hi, Miss Growth.
Yeah, Miss Natasha, please, on the stage. Yeah, from the K Capital. Please welcome her. Then we have Mr. Anup Ambika, he's Chief Executive Officer, Kerala Startup Mission. Mr. Anup? Yeah, he's just coming. So I give away this mic to Mr. Vivek now to, start this panel and take it forward, please. Thank you.
Hi guys, good to see hopefully a lot of you are startups or hopefully wanting to become one. So we have investors here. I will not take a lot of time because I think we already started late, so we have limited time. But I think media and entertainment has, obviously a lot of people have been talking about a lot of trends around media and entertainment. But in the VC, in the startup ecosystem, we are seeing a lot of trends around, of course, content creation and the democratization of that. So content creator startups and startups who are actually supporting content creators to become more productive. So those kind of startups, we are seeing a lot of trend in of course AI in media, and I think that is probably going to become one of the largest disruptive sectors, right? So generation AI, Gen AI in startups is seeing a lot of investments in India and across the world. We also invested in a couple of portfolio companies in that space, where they're creating meta humans, which I think live on some channels, right? So on some news channels, for example, where the weather reader is actually not a human being, right? Let's see how that pans out. Let's see how that pans out. And of course, I think gaming. So we'll have clearly a short discussion on gaming because I think that's probably the fastest growing space in engagement. And I think gaming is one space where it's been mixed, but I think going forward we see a lot of investment going into gaming. So I think these are some areas which we would like to talk about, right? But I think now let me hand over to start with Tanmay and they'll give us a brief introduction about themselves, and then we can have a few panel discussion. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot to all of you, for waiting and being here at a late evening. My name is Tanmay. I represent Amar Ujala. Amar Ujala is a 75-year-old media company. In the new buzzword, it's a content creation and a distribution company. We also run a media, tech, gaming, and also agricultural based media fund, which is looking at the early stage companies, primarily which go along well with our ecosystem, especially in the consumer space. And we have learned that entire ecosystem wherein how does a company acquire an audience and how do you basically take your ideas to millions of people in the tier 2 and tier 3 towns of India where we operate out of from. So I'll be happy to hear from all of you and share my views about this whole thing.
So my name is Tej Kapoor and I am managing partner at IVCap Ventures. We have about 450 million AUM and been investing in India for almost 11 years. I've been investing in India since 2010. So seen good amount of phases, unicorns to not unicorns, all kinds of things. But excited to be here and looking forward to catch up with everyone.
Namaskar. I can see folk on the left of 40s and also right of 40s. So fantastic. The other part is that we are also growing. So we start as a wealth management arm and then we have a full-fledged VC funds, a Cat 2 fund, and also one of the first entities to get their license in the city. We keep it simple and that's what we do now. Happy and eager to look at the opportunities like next 10 years. बहुत कुछ बन सकता है. Having said that, the startups also have a role to ensure that the money comes in the startups and does not go into everything into the public markets. So a good asset allocation play has to be there. So that is where in the ecosystem, everybody in this room has a equal part to play and grow.
Hi, I'm Natasha Malpani. I have somewhat of a non-traditional background. So I was an investor in London, then I did my MBA at Stanford. I worked at Pocket Aces and I actually ran a production house. So I've made films, series, ad films, and then I joined the dark side as a VC. And so I've seen the media ecosystem first evolve in the UK, then in Silicon Valley, and then in India. And I feel like, in India, always two things are true. So there's actually a lot of similarities in terms of what's happening in certain business models when it comes to video, OTT, print, TV, as there are globally. And then there's this huge deviation in terms of what's also happening in India when it comes to OTT and social media. So very happy to talk about and compare different models if that's what we want to do. But yeah, K Capital actually, we're a VC fund. We're investing our third fund right now. Been around since 2012. We look across sectors. But I look at real estate and healthcare as well as media and gaming, and I'm pushing to do more in gaming. And I think now, none of us can ignore Gen AI, right? Regardless of what format you look at, whether it's news or print or gaming. I mean, Gen AI is here to stay. So happy to chat about that as well. I guess what I would say about investing in media and entertainment, at least from an early stage perspective, is that it's been a sector that hasn't honestly made a lot of money across formats, but I think this time is different. Maybe famous last words. I look at Tej, but let's see.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Anu Pambika, and I think I'm the only one who doesn't have much money with me in this entire lot. So probably the least interesting person. Yeah. I represent Kerala Startup Mission. It is the nodal agency for promoting entrepreneurship in the state of Kerala. My creative bent is probably about singing in the bathroom and watching movies. So I somehow feel out of place until I, mingle with my friends here, Philip and Jay Kumar sir, who is probably the CEO of one of the first animation studios in the entire country called Toons Animation. What we really want to do is, I often feel that we are first in many but masters in none. I'm talking about Kerala. We actually did the Kinfra film and video part probably 20 years ago, much before Ramoji Film City came into place, I would assume. We had the first Technopark, we had the first startup village, but I think there is something missing in this entire equation where we are not taking the journey forward and we really want to change that. So we have actually thought very hard, along with the likes of Ashish Kulkarni from Ficci, has come up with a draft AVGC policy, and we want to put together the incentives and the infrastructure and the talent in place so that this ecosystem will thrive in the state of Kerala and more startups emerge and more investments will come to the state of Kerala. I'll talk a little bit more about the policy in tomorrow's state session, but I can tell you one of the things that might be interesting for the people with the purse here is that we do run a fund of funds wherein Kerala government actually invests a certain amount of money, and the fund will also invest a certain amount of money, and exclusively that fund would go into Kerala registered companies. So we do run a fund of fund scheme which I can probably talk to a little bit. And one sector that we'll be definitely looking at investing in the days to come is EVs. I'll stop at that and then come back with more yarn and LinkedIn.
Right. So, I think the first question, because we have a lot of VCs, of course, I think media and entertainment in a way probably, maybe because it's been perceived as a very high risk sector, typically the amount of investment going in it has relatively been low. But I think with gaming and with Gen AI coming up, I think that trend could change, right? But, as VCs, so how do you, what areas do you specifically now see in media and entertainment which could be exciting from an investment viewpoint? Because I think high risk, right? So possibly looking at a higher return, right? So, what couple of things really excite you today in this space from an investment viewpoint?
See, I'm not a typical, VC, so I think so, my folks at the left, might be able to answer it much better. See, we have been doing this for the last 75 years, running a profitable bottom line media company. And the only thing, which is extremely, critical, for a media company is the content. I think so, we talk a lot about, aggregation, technology, AI, all of it is extremely important. But I feel that we have not got enough, people trying to, solve that content creation problem. Even, the YouTubes and, Instagrams of the world, they are not really, proportionally right when it comes to, giving the right incentive to the content creator. So I feel that anything which is going to, create a more open ecosystem to give the right incentive to the content creator itself. Because without him, without that, video on, YouTube which gets millions of views, YouTube is nothing. Without that girl on, Instagram, who gets a billion views, Instagram is nothing. So I feel that all of us and, VCs and the government should definitely, try to solve the content creation issue, which I feel is the next issue to, solve, because aggregation game has been played, and now disintegration of content, maybe using AI, maybe using Web3 is going to take place. Whosoever gives the right incentive to the content creator himself might be the next big guy in this field.